Hello and welcome to the Town End podcast. Well, it's a slaughtering by St. Pat's and Oriel Park today. Dundalk absolutely humbled, 4 goals to 1 by Pats. Not a great game at all. A lot of sloppy mistakes, poor performance. Look, to help me pick through this in some way, we've Donal on today. We'll do a nice little quick one again today. Donal, oh God, you wait all weekend for a game of football and then this happens.
Yeah, and then when you start to get your hopes up and start to have a good feeling about the place, a good vibe, and then you come crashing back down. Yeah, it wasn't enjoyable at all. Not even a little bit.
Try being there.
Yeah. Look, I think we talked about this last week that after the European game, that the tiredness is going to be a factor at some point, that it's going to rear its head. And the first half they played quite well. Like again, I think we kind of thought that was going to happen, that they'd start well and you'd be worried about the second half. So
yeah,
they started well. Some of the decision making, even in the first half, was a bit suspect.
I'm sure we're going to do this. Most of this show will just be on Rob Harvey. So yeah, continue.
Yeah, some of his decisions were definitely questionable, but I think even like the first goal comes from Tchaikovsky's heading it back to Beebe. It's just, I don't know, it's putting too much into like tired decision making and tired thinking, but you give the corner away and then it's just a big old mess of a attempt to trying to clear it and defend it, and
it seemed like we had about 12 different attempts to try to clear or block this ball, none of which anybody wanted to take with any aplomb. And Sean Mountney said, well, look, if nobody wants it, I'll have a shot then. And to be fair to Abibi, it's a good save. It's one of those things you'll stop it going in, but where do you redirect the ball to? It's very hard. But to have a player sitting at the back post ready just to tap it in. And to be fair, he made a hash of it. I actually thought he was going to put it wide. It just seemed to just creep in between the posts like.
Yeah, he just about snuck it in. But it was strange because we were like pretty much in control until that, like without creating many chances, and then we get our own goal, which I think we can at this stage, like, since there's nothing really. It was offside.
Right, I got it now.
He's definitely offside.
Yeah.
So we got a little bit of luck. I couldn't really tell whether the Pat's goal was offside. I know some of the lads had the hands up, but I don't know if you could see it differently when you were there.
It's hard to call. It's because we don't have a camera down right in play to know if it's in line or not. So it's hard to see from those angles. But yeah, I think there was a suspect of it. And then like I was said in commentary, I think these things kind of even themselves out.
Yeah.
So if there's a question mark on that one, there's a question mark about our one, and you get on with the game, then you think nobody's too hard done by here. And look, and fair dues to Pat for being in the right place at the right time, because I think he was from the Vitesse game. I think when he came on, he kind of turned that, as in the good pass, and we seemed to change the way we were playing when he came on there, and to see him come on and score, in the first half, I thought, okay, this is kind of setting it up for maybe Pat to have a good game. But to concede again just before halftime, it's heartbreaking, isn't it?
Yeah, and Pat's basically just got control of the ball, got control of the game for about 5-10 minutes in the run up to that goal.
Yeah,
and it was like a warning for the second half. Like they got the ball down, they got their passing together and made us chase them, and just picked us off. Then even the second goal was like, I don't know whether Darrell he should go and try and block that shot, or if he should hold off knowing that there's someone there. I think it's just one of those split-second decisions where it's probably just like, this guy's going to score, I'm going to jump in front of it. And it just falls to, again, someone just standing there waiting to put it in the net.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking. And I think Pat's probably showed their clinicalness there today. Just kind of went, look, if these deflections are going to keep falling to us, we're going to keep putting them in the net. And that's without them really having a great recognised striker on that pitch, you would have thought as well. He didn't even have to bring Cockburn in there to, he was probably delighted about that, to tell the truth. But even on that first half, was there something in the sand we should have copped it when Vinny got the yellow card for stepping outside his technical area?
Yeah, that was a strange one. That was like that harkened back to the old Vinny Park days of being the assistant, and that was his only gig, was just stand there and be a
step outside the area.
But yeah, so Keith has brought up the second half. Say Dundalk did definitely look for teeth in the second half, but then obviously the biggest decision is the penalty. Yeah. Now, what did you think of the penalty?
Well, if anyone was watching the coverage, you'll see I brought it down to super slow-mo nearly, frame by frame, so everybody could see what I was seeing. Well, look, it clearly loops up. A BB comes out. From my angle, from the camera angle, from the slow-mos I put out, it definitely, ball changes direction. You can see a BB gets his fist to the ball. I think it's unorthodox. I think it's a tad clumsy, and you're giving, a referee of his caliber a decision to make, and we're in trouble straight away. That would how I sum it up.
I think that's the case. Like, many times have we seen penalties in the League of Ireland given for things like that, and what you immediately have to think is, if you give the referee an opportunity to give a penalty, then obviously there's a little bit of, not blame, I guess, because I don't think he's trying to foul anybody. He is genuinely trying to punch the ball. But I saw Dan McDonald saying on Twitter about the linesman, like, if the linesman's looking straight at that, it does look a little bit worse than the angle that we had from the camera, because it seems like he probably launches himself.
They're probably coming, they're coming towards him, I would have thought, as in the line,
might have made it look worse,
rather than away, which is the angle that the BB went to attack the ball was actually on the camera side rather than on the linesman side. I think it's one of them. If it was against you, you'd probably, you'd be kind of saying exactly what we are, that you're hard done by for it. If it goes for you, you can see, well, why did the keeper have to come through the player to get the ball? And then it's which happens first. Does he come through the player first, or does he get his fist to the ball first? And it's 50-50. Don't give the ref that decision, is what I would say.
Yeah. But, and again, it's just one of those, it's the decision making to go for that. And again, the fourth goal is decision making again, and Sam Stanton's just absolutely lost his mind trying to play that pass. Because even if it comes off, it's still only going to like another centre back or a full back. It's just insane.
I seen a plethora of crossfield passes today, and I think only Patrick McElhenney pulled it off to actually swap the ball over to like Duffy on the wings a few times, and Leahy picked out as well. I don't think anybody else really pulled them balls off today.
No.
So I seen a lot of people on Twitter giving out about the bounce of the ball and how that pitch played today. If when you think about that, then it definitely wasn't the ball for Stanton to play. It's just stick it out, put it out for a throw in, and we'll defend it if you're under pressure, and no one will give out to him. We'll have a chance to regroup. But look, hindsight's a good thing. The only thing I will say, the 4-1 scoreline, I don't think it fully reflected the game when you think, Pat had that one, it crashed off the upright later on, and I think Sean Murray's one he poked past the post as well, was close. But I think Pat's were on top in that game. I think we really just looked leggy. I think the games have finally caught up to us. I think the extra time in treaty, the flights, everything is now just finally caught up. And I think not that even paying Dummigan in the back row came back to bite us. I just think overall the pitch, I just don't think it just didn't click today.
Yeah. It had to happen at some point. Like, there's going to be a down performance after all of the good performances that they've had. It's just whether they can, the best versions of Dundalk teams over the last few years have been able to weather that poor performance and get a good result out of it. And just the way things have gone for this team this season and last season, they don't seem to have that. They don't seem to have the ability that when it's a poor performance to dig a draw out or dig a win out. And in fairness, like, Pats took their chances when they got them. So, like, it's a different game if we hadn't made the defensive mistakes that we made. But
yeah,
the second half, it just didn't look like they were going to get anything from it.
I think we huffed and puffed. I think we huffed and puffed without really doing anything. I think we had patterns of play. It looked okay, but could you really see at any time, like, you know, when you look at the first half, the intensity we had? I think we were lucky to be. I think if we had gone in 1-1, you would have said that was fair, because, you know, we forgot to mention even Leahy's chance. And I think if Leahy puts that ball anywhere else, the keeper doesn't save it.
Yeah, and like keeper has his arm out, like it's not a fluky save. It's like he did really well to get himself in front of the ball, but it was, if he even if he mishits it, even if he finishes it the same way the first Pat's goal was finished, it might just like creep into the corner. I just wanted to bring this up as well. Keith's about to bring that up there too about the pitch. I don't know if I've ever seen it as bad as that. It looked really, really atrocious, and I just hope, I don't really know what happened, but I hope that pitch hasn't cost John Mountney the rest of his season, because that looked a really, really bad injury. And it looked like he was just coming down. His right leg was coming down, and his knee just
was it how he placed his right leg? Was it how he placed his right leg? Because I slowed it down for a replay and I couldn't see, because I thought for a second, was it Leahy just came in at the back of him, and I thought, did he clock the back of his knee? But then I seen his right foot kind of goes very straight when he impacts the ground, and then he tumbles over, and I thought, was that it?
Yeah.
So it was obviously it was just the pitch.
The impact on the pitch. But maybe it's not the pitch. Maybe it's just something else. But there was an awful lot of talk about the pitch in the first half. Well, the whole way through the game, but especially the first half, and then that happens to him. So, look, you hope for the best for him, because he's a bit of a legend, you know, and hopefully injury's not too bad. But in fairness to the Pats, they didn't miss him when he went off.
No, unfortunately, yeah.
But the pitch was very difficult to play on. Even like a couple of minutes into the game, it just spun up in front of Patching when he was in position to shoot, and it just changes the whole pattern of the play, and he has to pass it off.
So like we're there at least 3 hours before kickoff, and you know, like the pitch was, the tractor was out on it. It was brushed over. The sprinklers were on. I don't know if it got a watering before that, or were they expecting rain and then didn't overly water it? I don't know if that could have been something as well, because it seemed to look quite dry to me. Because when it's wet, it's a real slick surface, where this had a very odd bounce, which to me might have thought that it was too dry, possibly. Yeah,
it just looked sticky, like and an awful lot of the black stuff coming up with the ball and everything. Like, it just didn't look good. And look, it's not an excuse.
No,
I mean, both teams had to play on it, you know. But
and to be fair, look, like you just said there, though, we wish John Mountney all the best on it, because I think everybody loved John Mountney as a player when he was at Dundalk, and the fact that he was a servant for so long, we hope that it's a safe recovery for that, and it's not too bad for him. But like you say, from a Dundalk point of view, with a good player like John Mountney going off, you think that might have an impact, but unfortunately not. No. Unfortunately not from us. I mean, like, what did you think of the lineup today? Did you think, like, there was a couple of wee tinkering with going on in it? I thought Will Patching seemed well out of it today. He seemed to be, like, in the first half in particular, I remember him, was it just before the Pats goal, we had a break, and he carried the ball out, and his pass there was no weight on it. It was nearly the wrong direction, and he looked like, does he continue running with the ball, or does he pass it, and he got caught in two minds, and it just, he just didn't seem to have that right decision making today for us.
Yeah, you just wonder about his fitness after being, it was a stomach bug, I think, that Vinny said.
Yeah.
That he had. So, like, maybe his match fitness isn't quite there. I think the team, I mean, leaving Sonny out, I don't know. I mean, they were fine for the most part at the back, but just him being out, like, is that just tiredness? But yeah, like Stanton looked like he was knackered a couple of games ago, and McMillan looked like he was knackered a couple of games ago, and Dickie Kelly went off early on Thursday night, so I'm not sure there's too many options for him.
Yeah.
I think just as a group, they just seemed to struggle second half. I don't really think it would have mattered who we had on. I think it was just one of them days. Like, I don't know. I'm sure it's not a case of like the attention is gone to Thursday night coming. Like, I'm sure that's not what it is, because they would have all known that this is a big game. And when it seems like everybody's dropping points except a couple of teams that are directly beneath us and above us.
Yeah.
So, like, it would have been a good opportunity to make ground and bows, you know. But yeah, the team was fine, I thought, like, this selection, but I just don't think I don't think it mattered what team we picked today. I don't think they were going to get something.
So you think it was more of an energy thing, or?
Yeah, well, like, that's what I was saying that Thursday night, that I was really, really worried about late in the game.
Yeah.
Because they've just put so much effort in, and there's been so many of those players that haven't gotten rotated because there hasn't been anybody to replace them.
Yeah.
And you really worry again on Thursday that's like, Thursday's going to take a superhuman effort anyway, regardless of what level of fitness they're at. But if you're thinking, like, if they're ahead by a goal with half an hour to go, it's just going to be a struggle, I think. But hopefully the occasion and the adrenaline and everything will get them through it. And there'll be a good sized crowd and hopefully a great atmosphere at the game as well, which will help them.
Like, I think we talked about it before, and we hoped with our experience that we kind of understood what the necessities of this team would be when you're trying to play Europe and you've got your league campaign at the same time. You also had a leg in the cup. You have another leg. You know, I know it's St. Moctis we'll be playing, but we you've got that game coming up before the end of this month too. You have allowed Derby thrown in there, and you've this, like, it's a hell of a schedule. And you think there's been extra time and a bit of travel in there too. It's very hard to balance. I'm sure it's not an easy thing, and that's, like I say, it's not that these lads couldn't get up for the game today or anything like that, but I just think you're right. I think there's been a lot of asked of this team, and they've risen to it in Tallinn. They rose to it again in the Netherlands during the week. To go again, it was probably, in a World War II joke, this is probably a bridge too far. With regards what you could ask of this team. And I think when you think of, like we just mentioned, Will Lee, that's the DJ,
his brother,
patching, and Sam Stanton, I think that's what we're probably seeing, that it wasn't in their legs. Poor decision making is probably an element of fatigue or tiredness coming in there. And that's unfortunately, you have to have a very big squad to get this balance. Whatever we could say about the size of our squad at the start of this year, we've lost how many players in the transfer window?
Like 4 or 5.
And the only thing coming back in was Will Patching on loan.
Yeah.
So that's a fair, it's tough for any team. Gally might like me saying this, but to have a junior or something probably there today would have been nice. Just to have an option, junior playing for Derry, not for us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Junior.
Yeah. I think that might have been an option today, but I think it's unfortunate, but I'd prefer maybe the fact that we just never looked that we were in that game. Take out the first half. As long as the first half went on, I think you could see there was another gear in Pats today. I don't think they had to go through them. I think we presented them with a lot of opportunities, but they just showed when you have a team on form and they're performing well this year, and despite the injuries that they've had, Pats, at the moment, I think they just showed a bit of clinicalness that we lacked. Lee's goal goes in, different game. Yeah, definitely. I think that then the adrenaline starts kicking in. You have a lead to take all of a sudden, and it's okay. Can you get to half time and see how this actually was? That's a different kettle of fish. We get the other side of Dundalk where we don't take that chance. Then we concede before half time. It's a different halftime conversation for Vinny. Now he's starting to think about getting legs on, getting other people into position, get Sonny back in a position, needs to play him in with Boyle before this game in preparation for Thursday. And you could see that's kind of started happening. Get Sahibo on all of a sudden, tried to play McMillan and Hooban together for you kind of look at that and say there's structures all over the place now in this team. And I just think it was gone then at that stage.
Yeah, and again, like you look at the Pats team. I know Fano mentioned that in the commentary. Like they're just incredibly organized. That they're drilled within an inch of their life. Like everybody knows exactly what to do, and they move as a team, they defend as a team, they attack as a team, and that was in reality that was all it took to win today. Was just that level of organization, to be in the right place at the right time. And chances were presented to them, and they took them. And again, fair play to them. But it does seem a bit heartbreaking. But the idea that we didn't really make them, beat us, that we.
Look, don't get me wrong. I think Vinny has some elements of encouragement in that first half. That I think he could say, well, look, right up to concession of the second goal, we were in that game. There was a couple of nice slide rule passes through. We were looking for the gaps in between. I just think when we came out second half, we didn't even look for those balls anymore. We were trying to play very direct. You nearly knew once we were getting the ball, it was going to make its way out to Duffy at some stage. And I think especially maybe actually Sam Bowen coming on for John Mountney would probably shear that side up a little bit more. Like I think Bowen could get into most teams anyway. I think I rated him at Waterford too, so I think that probably played in all right for them. I suppose casting an eye now on Thursday, we were coming in from other ones going, we got points, we got through the next rounds of cups and everything else, and even the gap in between the Vitesse game and the Tallinn game, that kind of worked for us. Now you're coming in on a defeat, not a great performance, couple of hard luck stories. It's going to take a big effort, I think, from Vinny to lift these guys back up a bit. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not sure how much, in all honesty, I'm not sure how much the confidence should be affected by that game today. Like, the boys are capable of going and winning on Thursday night, like they almost won Thursday night just gone. Like they are capable of it. It's whether they just have the legs. That's just the main thing that I'm worried about. And I know Vitesse aren't that far into their pre-season, and they seemed a bit leggy towards the end of the first leg, but just imagine that their fitness levels will have improved by the time they play Thursday night. And the first thing that goes when fatigue is setting in is just the decision making and
concentration.
Yeah, exactly. And these are the games where you have to be more concentrated than any other ones. Like we saw that in the first leg, how quickly we can lose the ball and how one bad touch can lead to a counter attack and all that kind of stuff. Like they really, really have to be concentrated and turned on. So they're capable of it. I mean, and Jesus, we've seen amazing things happen when we've played in Tala, and maybe it will rain. Hopefully the heavens open and it's just another one of them nights.
Yeah, and Robbie Benson comes back. I'm with you.
Yeah, we could just have the exact same game as the last one.
This is the thing. I think if you took parts of the first half performance today, you match that to the second half performance against Vitesse, you're kind of thinking, okay, that's the level of performance that you need, and that you're going to have to do that for 90 minutes. Though we can't afford. I think Abibi had a good game over there, I don't want to, looking at a BB today, for the penalty, that we don't want to be given a referee a decision like that again.
Yeah.
So we need, we can't be coughing up the sort of opportunities that we gave today, because I think a team like Vitesse Arnhem will just absolutely hammer us off the pitch. They'll be as clinical as Pats were today with opportunities like that, and we're out of the tie. And I don't want to come off the back of today's result to go on Thursday, and then you're looking at a loud derby after that too, aren't you? Is there a away match before that?
I think it could. Derry on
Sunday
next week.
So there you look, Rory Higgins at that game today as well.
Yeah,
so
there might be a little bit of needle in that one too,
I think there might just be. I wouldn't want to be beside Vinny and Rory on a press conference anyway, let's say.
Yeah.
So,
I think Kyle's just after saying that there, that if they're going to do it on Thursday, it has to be in 90 minutes. They can't have another half an hour after it. They just won't be able to move.
Yeah, 45 minutes of performing won't be enough anymore from us. Somehow Vinny has to knit these second half performances that we have shown, bar today. It was an absolute calamity in the second half today, but previous to this that he's shown in Europe, the second half displays have been excellent. And somehow we need to do that exactly for the 90 minutes. Kyle's absolutely right. That's the level to stay in this competition. That's what we need to do, and that's what we need to inspire ourselves. Now, I do have this feeling that you put those players on that ledge of, what can happen. I think the performance levels increase. I think they'll enjoy playing on that surface. I think they'll enjoy the limelight, the opportunity that comes with the Europa Conference League this year, the chance that, to knock a team like Vitesse out. That's going to inspire a lot of players.
Yeah.
And that part could play in, and we could see a completely different team. And we could be scratching our heads thinking, right, how the hell did this performance on Sunday happen? So look, It's either going to be a blessing in disguise tonight as a wake-up call, or we'll say, well, look, we see the seeds of this happen on Sunday, and that happened on this coming Thursday. So it's on a knife edge, and it's one of them ones both of us are at as well. So it's it could be a long drive home, or we could be on this with audio calls, us bouncing along the M50 on the M1 on the way home. So it's going to go one way or the other.
It could be the greatest celebratory podcast of all time.
Yeah.
Or
or the longest drive home.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's a strange one, but look, it's nice to be in these. It's great to be looking forward to a tie like today. But I just even a point or something today, a bad performance or not, to come out with a draw today, I would have said, okay, I'll take that. Concentrate on Thursday. So it's a bit. But now, when just at the end of the match there, Vinny did make his way over to the FEI assessor to lodge a complaint about something. So I'm assuming it's about his yellow card, because he was giving out about, I actually think he was giving out about a Pats player and yelling across the pitch. And I think Rob Harvey thought he was having to go with him. So I think that might have been it. It could have been something else. It could have been, maybe just Vinny had seen something else. I'm not too sure. Or maybe it was just the performance of maybe Rob Harvey over the whole match. He was having to go. I didn't want to hang around in case I got brought into it as it was a private conversation. But what I would say is that he did meet him and mention something to him. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Of what came out of that.
You wouldn't be like Rob Harvey to misunderstand something or get something wrong with it.
Yeah, well, that's it. Vinny gives out about a Pats player, and he comes over and gives out to him for giving out for criticizing his referee, and it's on par with what we've seen today. Yeah. As I said, we were just kind of doing a quick post-match wrap-up from today, and a look to Thursday. Just before we finish, I think it'll be something of note. Just anyone online this week might have seen that Dean from the podcast here just did put up a request to the supporters club just to highlight the issue that we don't know what's happening with regards to the ownership of the club at the end of this year. So it's an important move. I think it's at this stage now we'd all like a bit of clarity. There's numerous rumors circulating all around the place. I think, as one supporter said to me, it's shit or get off the potty time now from Peak Six. And it's fine if they're done and they're finished with this project. That's fine. We can draw a line under that. I think just to know if there's a for sale sign or not outside Oriel Park would be good. It also helps us understand why, and the fear is now we've already lost Patrick McElhenney, and whatever glimmer of hope we had during the week vanished the next day or within a couple of hours. Yeah. So we're in danger of losing more of this squad, and there's Vinny's situation too. We've seen the bounce that we've had since Vinny's come back. I think we do need clarity of where the owners' heads are with regards to Dundalk Football Club, and whether we can, is it realistic? And this is the thing: if the owners aren't staying around, then it's unrealistic for us to ask for contracts to be renewed, which is fine, because then we know that we'd be looking to get new owners in or some sort of structure in
place. Chris has stalled. He's going to come back in a second, but yeah, it's the we're a couple of results away from this being the main focus of attention again. A couple of bad results and we'll all just forget about the positivity after the European games. I'm just going to keep talking until Chris comes back, which he's really trying so hard to come back. Are you back then? Not back yet. Look, we'll wrap this up because we were only going to come on for a short little time anyway. So we'll be back on Thursday after the game. I hope everybody is excited for it, even excited after today's performance. But we could have one of those magical European nights coming. So we'll talk to you all on Thursday.